Now, steps of conformal radiotherapy. When we want to do conformal radiotherapy and we go for conformal radiotherapy, there is 3 aims should be considered behind this decision. First is man, the personnel, number and their competence. Moment, the requirement should be justified, the decision should be justified as per requirement of the patients and other logistics. And machines means quality assured, effective radiotherapy equipments. Next step is very important, and it is dose prescription and fractionation. So dose prescription, where to be prescribed, point or surface, total dose, the number of fractions, dose per fractions, fraction per week, and treatment duration. According to this prescription, we should define the tissue objective of our treatment planning. So as is, for example, these two fractionation scheme are radiological equivalent, where first one is conventional with conventional fractionation, and second one is intensity modulation, SIV fractionation, where all target volumes LR, IR and HR are differentially delivered the dose in SIV. So in conventional technique, you see that spinal cord receive 200 centigrade per fraction in 23 fraction, whereas in SIV fractionation, spinal cord is received 129 centigrade in 35 fractions. So the spinal cord tolerance dose should be revised during the treatment planning. So we have published 2 articles. In one is radiobiological comparison of SIV versus sequential boost, and we have seen that still we have both arms were radiobiologically equivalent, but when the finally achieved the biological effective difference, biological dose difference were higher than the sequential group of patients than the SIV group of patients. And we have also tried to explore the possibilities of revision of spinal cord dose if we can revise, and we have a dosimetrical and radiobiological demonstration, and this article also accepted in cancer radiotherapy. Now this is the immobilization device preparation step. This is very important for and should be very intense and accurate for conformal radiotherapy to reproduce and to reproduce the treatment setup and restrict the movements of the patients. Now imaging, we have various type of imaging modalities available. In conventional we have X-rays, and in three-dimensional anatomic CT and MRI, three-dimensional functional US ultrasounds, SPECT, PET, MRS, and three-dimensional anatomy 4D CT. In simulation also we have conventional simulation. In conventional simulation we have the laser. This is the duplicating treatment setup except therapeutic radiation source. So we have conventional simulation, that is X-ray unit, and that duplicates the therapeutic unit. And CT simulation, CT simulator is with a large bore, laser localizer, a flat tabletop, and the required softwares and other hardwares. Next step is image registration or image matching. This image matching are used in various different fields, like astrological studies and astrophysical studies and environmental studies, and we have copied this technique to create the better plan in our treatment planning system. And the image matching need of this image matching is we can correlate the different image set modalities or time that image set were taken in modalities or time, and we can compare the images between one imaging study to another image study, and we can fuse the image of different image studies, that PET and MRI or CT scan can be fused. We can create a blended image. So what are the types of the image registration or image matching? In dimension, according to dimensionality, it may be the three-dimensional, 2-dimensional or 4-dimensional. According to features, we can match the extrinsic body markers or intrinsic organs or any markers. And according to user interaction, it may be interactive, it may be semi-automatic, and it may be automatic. According to the geometric transformation, it may be the rigid or linear. Means we predefined the two points, and some are, and the second one is deformable, that is non-linear. First one, this image is the schematic diagram of linear registration, and second one is non-linear deformable registration. This is the image registration of our treatment planning system, and you can see this part is CT images, and we have created a block, and this is the MRI image. This portion can be movable from anywhere, and it helps to control delineate the target volume very effectively. Now this is the image segmentation, and this is the very important part for clinician. You know that when we move from conventional to 3D CRT, and there are ICRU also come up with various target volume delineation recommendations. First ICRU in this regard was ICRU 29 in 1978, and where they have defined the target volume, the treated volume, irradiated volume, organ at risk. They have also mentioned the hotspot, that is outside the target more than 100% dose, and it should be more than 2 square centimeter in A sections. But they didn't mention any heterogeneity limitations. In ICRU 50, that is 1993, where target volume was subdivided GTV, CTV, and PTV, and the rest are the same. Only hotspot definition is 15 millimeter dia sphere, and they have also mentioned the heterogeneity, that is +7% to -5%. ICRU 62 is a supplement of ICRU 50, where there is a new volume, that is CTV, that is CTV plus internal margin, and organ at risk were classified in this ICRU 62, and they have also defined a new volume, that is planning risk volume, which is similar to the CTV to PTV margin, and rest of the same. But in IMRT, when we move from 3D CRT to IMRT, there is a ICRU reports, that is ICRU 83, and introduced in 2010, for prescribing the recording and reporting of photon beam IMRT. The need of this ICRU, because we have entered a digital era of radiotherapy, and with the advent of IMRT, we deals with non-uniform dose in IMRT, and large dosimetric body variations are exist within the treatment volume, and isocentric dose is meaningless. But it was in those prescription ICRU 62, it was very meaningful in 3DC up to 3D CRT. They also radiological consequences of large heterogeneity also considered. So if you see, there is a no definite volume definition changes. Volumes are same, but they have some for GTV. They have one should mention the imaging modality, and CTV required for adequate for 5 to 10% occult disease, and no CTV for benign disease. ITV are better delineated with the advent of 4DCT. PTV, for PTV, and sometimes we encounter with the situation the PTV and OAR overlap, but in ICRU 83, they have created some sub-volume of PTV, where we can give different dose objectives for these sub-volumes. OAR's PRV treatment volume, there is no change, but for the remaining, they have introduced a new volume, that is remaining volume at risk, which considers the normal tissue, rest of the other normal tissue which are not contoured or in target or OARs. Now the beam definition. This is the step of treatment planning, step 1, where we define the energy or quality of the radiation beam. We can define we define the direction of the beam multiplicity, how much number of beams we should use, and the beam aperture also adjusted for each directions. We also use some beam modifications. May beam optimization also done, beam modulations also done in this phase. Next is dose calculations. All in the latest treatment planning system, they are based on various dose calculation algorithms. So you have to select the dose calculation algorithm properly. Calculation grid definitions also need to be selected during the dose calculations, and if you only the change in computational algorithms, you may land up with the different types of dose distribution results. We have compared in our department we have treatment planning system Eclipse, that is version 11.6, which is based on the AAA algorithms. So we wanted to check that this is effective for small field or air water heterogeneity combination or not. So first we compared this TPS estimated. Someone is raised hand. Yes, Pratyusha Mukherjee. Hello.
I think continue, maybe by mistake.
Okay.
Continue. Please.
So small field, we have compared the dose distribution that is estimated by treatment planning system with the measured in one in phantom study, and another is clinical situations where we compare the estimated dose with the Monte Carlo data, and we have observed that AAA dose calculation algorithm is not able to calculate the dose accurately in air cavity and beyond this air cavity. So in distribution, you will see a very good distribution, but in actually this may not happen in all the cases. It all depends on your calculation algorithms. Now, this plan evaluation part, this is also very important for clinicians. In plan evaluations, we have two types of plan evaluation. One is subjective and another is quantitative. The subjective, we visually inspect the isodose line slice by slice. And in quantitative, there are three types. One is dose volume histogram. We have the plan evaluation indices, that is conformity index, homogeneity index, gradient index, and the biological indices, that is TCP, NTCP, and EUD. In DVH, we have two types of dose volume histogram. One is cumulative and another is differential. In cumulative dose volume histogram, this is plot of volume receiving a certain dose as a function of dose. And in differential, this is the plot of receiving a dose within a specified dose interval as a function of dose, and this is Gaussian in nature. But most of the time, we use this cumulative DVH. These are used for to estimate the dose of OARs, and sometimes the dose conformity also you can see in a single plot. And we calculate these C conformity index, homogeneity index, and gradient index from these cumulative dose volume histograms. So we have various types of plan evaluation methods. Subjective means slice by slice check of isodose lines. This is easy to understand, and this is very useful in hot assessment of hot and cold spot. But you have to analyze huge information of means in a particular patient you have 100 slides. So this is very complicated, very cumbersome, and very laborious job. But it is difficult to quantify or rank the treatment plan of between competing other plans, and it is also difficult to dose versus anatomy of this dose versus this anatomy. And dose volume histogram, this is a summary of the distribution and easy to compare between the plans. but it's provide a way of quantity. But where it is difficult to hot and cold spots in and correlate with the anatomy, sometimes those volume histogram are misleading, and it calculate only the volume of interest which we have contoured. It will show only that amount of that organ informations, and in those volume histogram we lost the spatial informations. But we generate some physical plan indices, that is conformity index, homogeneity index, and other. They are quantify the plan quality and calculated from DH, as I already said. But the conformity index and homogeneity index, the definition is changing since they are introduced. They have many limitations of each type of methodology. Their reliability also, there is some doubts. And you know that the physical dose is surrogate with the outcome. It's all depends on that dose volume, dose vaccinations and radiobiological dose. So radiobiological indices should be calculated, but these radiobiological indices are properly interpretation is very difficult, and they are model based, and if there is any errors in any model, it will propagate your decision, it will influence your decision. There are limited clinical data available to validate these models. So these model methods are not contradicting, but they are complementing each other. So we need to assign the score of each method for defining quality of a plan. We have published a review article, that is plan evaluation indices, a journey of evaluation, that is published in Reports of Practical Oncology and Radiotherapy. And one more is accepted, that is radiotherapy plan evaluation indices, a dosimetrical suitability check, where we check dosimetrically which quantity is important for this IMRT and 3D-CRT planning. In plan evaluation, we have also create a indigenous software, and it is on validation process, and which can create a decision support system for clinician according to the radiobiological TCP and NTCP estimation. These are a TCP and NTCP are calculated from the dose volume histogram data. Next part is treatment verifications, where the one, if there is a fluence, this fluence is predicted images, and another is measured image. We measure our this fluence by electronic total dosimetry system, and or you can measure by iMatrix type of 2D array of ion chambers, and we can blend these two images, and we can see that we can visually also see there is any changes or not. And there are some quantity like gamma index, and we assign some passing values, and this plan is passed when these are this quantity is more than or less than whatever their passing criteria. So we can assign this passing criteria. So these are also visible in very beautiful graph of field by field. You can analyze field by field or now the treatment execution is the most important step, but we clinician and radiation physicists are relatively relaxed in this part. They think that already treatment planning and controlling everything is done properly, so treatment will be automatically executed. But we should clearly instruct our technician about the treatment procedure, what type of methods, and this should be in ambiguous way. And technicians should be attentive towards patients, and we should clearly mention the imaging protocol. And so there is very efficient and technological and more dedicated technological staff is needed to execute the conformal radiotherapy. In these present days high-end equipment, we have various interlocks which may helpful in for any blunder in your treatment. various interlocks. So there are approvals, there are authorities, and so ID password protections are also there. So it is difficult to make some blunder in treatment with the help of this modern days equipment. Now, external beam conformal radiotherapy. I have already said that 3D CRT, IGRT, IMRT. I have combined these all in conformal radiotherapy. In 3D CRT, we use the 3D anatomic information. We use multiple field in multiple directions. We use beam modifiers. We confirm the target using the proper aperture opening by using the multi-leaf collimators or shielding. So the target is confirmed. This is the first attempt of conformal radiotherapy and very effective in today's modern days radiotherapy also. In 3D CRT planning, we have digitally reconstructed radiograph. This image is DRR images, where you can, the bony landmarks and target volume you have contoured is already visible. We have beam's eye view, where you can place your eye in the beam, source, so you can visualize the target volume. You can decide your aperture. And we have room's eye view, where the patient is transparent. You can move around your patients in the room. So this is known as room side view. These tools are very useful for three-dimensional conformal radiotherapy planning. Now, intensity modulated radiotherapy. Here also we use 3D anatomic information. We use multiple field in multiple directions. We have modulating device like any type of in the later slide I will discuss. We have optimization facility, so we create the non-uniform fluence and to confirm the target. And this, I think, in my opinion, this is the most important technological advancement in radiotherapy we have ever seen. So modulation methods, first people are tried with compensators, OH, transmission blocks, dynamic OH, moving parts, but they are very cumbersome and very laborious. So in modern days, modulation methods are based on multi-leaf collimator, tomotherapy collimators, unflattened beam with multi-leaf collimators, and particles beams modulation like proton IMPT, intensity modulated proton therapy. So if commonly used intensity modulated modulation is multi-leaf collimator based, dynamic multi-leaf collimator, and triple F means flattening filter free beams, and tomotherapy collimators. In linear accelerator, common linear accelerator, we may use the multi-segmented static, that is step and shoot, or you can call it as stop and shoot. You may have the dynamic multi-leaf collimator. You have the dynamic multi-leaf collimator with arc intensity modulated arc therapy. In static multi-segmented IMRT, MLC positions and gantry angles, they are variables. In dynamic, MLC positions and MLC speed are variable and gantry angle. But in intensity modulated arc therapy, that means VMAT or rapid arc in variant setup, that you have various factors which are variables like MLC positions, MLC leads, gantry angles, that is dynamic arc, gantry speed, and dose rate. In dynamic and triple F beams, the triple F itself already modulated beams, MLC positions, MLC speed, gantry angle, gantry speed, and dose rate. In tomotherapy collimators, we have two types of tomotherapy. One is peacock system and another is helical tomotherapy. In peacock system, we have binary collimators, gantry rotation, and transverse translational movements. They are variables. And in helical tomotherapy, binary collimators, gantry rotations coupled with the translation movements. So we get a spiral type of movements in helical tomotherapy. In IMRT system, treatment planning, you have to input the accurate beam data. You have a adequate and proper treatment planning algorithm. and which able to plan able to perform the inverse planning. You have a very stringent treatment planning system quality assurance. And second one is intensity modulated beam delivery system. It has two components. One is LINAC and another is multi-leaf collimeters. LINAC, you have a very it is already the quality assured LINAC is there, and MLC, you have to check the leaf speed stability, the leaf positional accuracy, and leaf transmission. In static IMRT process, the energy, dose rate, static MLC or dynamic MLC, collimeter angle, gantry angle, isocenter location, tissue objective, and planning algorithm. These are the planner defined parameters which planner can adjust according to his plan requirements. So if there is a simple change in isocenter location, this is the editable parameters isocenter location. So we have tried what should be the optimized and ideal isocenter for intensity modulated radiotherapy. We have observed that the geometric centroid of a target at plan isocenter gives us the significant advantages in reduction of field number, total monitor unit, and patient body mean dose. Means you can reduce the integral dose of the patient by only a small changes in your location of isocenter in intensity modulated radiotherapy. In static IMRT, there is also some, you have the beam angle optimizations, where you create coplanar or planar beam angle optimization. You can set the beam manually also, and the initial number and iterations, these all parameters you can define during the planning process. These are the beam angles at the starting, where this is 71, it is reduced from 71 to 7 or 9 fields IMRT after the final optimizations. And static IMRT process, this is the inverse planning. After the placement of the beam, we go for inverse planning, where we define the normal tissue objective, that is the rest of the volumes except target and other wares which are demarcated. We have also give some priority to this. We have defined the priorities, and we have defined the volume upper and lower objective. We can use lower objective, upper objective, mean objectives. We may also give some weightage to the maximum monitor unit. We also use the base dose plan type of planning, where the previous plan voxel by voxel doses were considered during this planning, in inverse planning. In ARC IMRT process, means rapid ARC or VMAC, we have to select the number of isocenter and number of rotation, the target margin. If you have multiple MLC system, then you have option to select this system. You have also option to change this collimeter angle. And this is the inverse planning process. This is similar with the previous one. We have seen that some cases we have advantages of in some clinical situation, like the carcinoma of breast. Confound radiotherapy gives some advantages, and intensity modulated also gives some different types of advantages. So we have tried to design some treatment techniques, that is hybrid techniques, in a single plan in combination with confounded 3D CRT and intensity modulations. This is very the complexity of the treatments is very high, and as we know that motion management is not required, as we have maximum dose delivery by conventional radiotherapy, 3D conformal radiotherapy, and so low dose volume, we can reduce this low dose volume in this hybrid than the intensity modulated radiotherapy. And we also able to check the heart dose and lung dose using this hybrid technique, and monitor unit is lesser than IMRT. but intensity modulated radiotherapy, but is little bit higher than three-dimensional conformal radiotherapy. So we can mix and match both the advantages in a single plan. Now, personally, I do not have much experience in image-guided radiotherapy, but what I understand that image guidance is patient data acquisitions. During image guidance during patient data acquisition, the treatment simulations, treatment planning, target localization before treatment, and target localization during treatment is the image-guided radiotherapy. Image-guided radiotherapy have different types, mainly two types. In first type, we have localized the target, considering the target have no motions. And next one is we track the target, we consider this target with motions. In localizations, we use the in-room CT or CT on rail, KV-CV CT, MV-CV CT, helical tomotherapy, or ultrasound-based image-guided radiotherapy. In target tracking, we may use the gating or real-time target tracking. In gating, we have the prospective gating, and another is retrospective gating using the 4D CT. And real-time target tracking, that is based on fluoroscopy or electromagnetic technology or magnetic resonance technology. Fluoroscopy, we have the Hokkaido system, ExactTrack Novalis system, and CyberKnife. In electromagnetic, we have the Calypso system, and in recent days, some MR Linux are also coming up, and MR Cobalts are already there. They have the image guidance by magnetic resonance imaging. This is the CT on rail, and this is the CVCT and MVCVCT, KVCVCT and MVCVCT in a single machines. This is the X-ray machine, and this is the detectors, and here is the MV or therapeutic head, and opposite side we have the detectors for this to capture this image. For real-time target tracking, this is CyberKnife, and this is MR Linux. Now a new technology is coming up, that is surface guided radiotherapy or surface tracking. This is a type of augmented reality type of things, and this is a optical imaging system of the surface, and it does not involve any radiation, ionizing radiation. So this will be a near future of image guidance, by which we can this type of technology will help the patient treatment properly, and during treatment we can also adjust the patient and the image guidance can be done using this surface guided surface tracking. So in conclusion, we should define our priority. We should define our priority. You can see this cartoon image where a person is priority. His priority is the charging of mobiles, and we should have time for improvements. And success is not always what you see. So knowledge, understanding, skills, efforts, and dedication of the involved team is more important than technology. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks a
Dr.
lot, sir.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Dr.
sorry,
Ritu?
sir.
Yeah,
Continue.
please.
Thanks a lot, sir, for this wonderful presentation. And I'm glad to see the number of students who have joined. Of course, we have few questions pouring in. So first question is, can you please explain the deformable registration in detail and the difference between the deformable and the linear registration?
In linear registration, we have defined some predefined parameters. Before this registration, the two distance or 2 points distance is already defined. So we match these 2 points, and accordingly the rest of the things are matched. But in deformable system, in radiotherapy, this is very useful, as sometimes before pre surgery scan is fused with the post surgery scan for our planning purposes. So in this case we select the volume. Excuse me. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So in deformable registration, if sometimes we in radiotherapy it is very required. Our target is also shrinking. So for adaptive radiotherapy, we have to fuse the earlier image with the present one. So there is a gross changes. So we select some volume of interest. And this volume of interest, within this volume of interest, each voxel is matched with other, and according to there is a fused image for this volume only. Actually, we do not have in our planning system. We have linear registration. We do not have this type of registration. So I do not have some much experience about this deformable registrations. I know this is very useful in some deformed types of patient geometric informations.
Can I say about deformable registration?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah, we are using deformable registration. Mostly it is helpful when we are going for the adaptive RT, when
Yes,
there
sir.
is a tumor shrinkage, then
Yeah.
it is good. But I also make a comment, deformable registration is very good if we have a proper anatomic experience, because it sometimes it become a double-edged sword also. If one person without get bypass the rigid registration
Yes,
and
sir.
directly go to the deformable registration,
Yes, sir.
it
Yes,
can
sir.
match anything. Because it changes. You can imagine it first. It changes the CT value of the present image, and it liquefy that, and then it fuse.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Every
Yes, sir.
anatomy get change in the deformable registration, and it will try to match that. So first, before going for the deformable registration, one should go for the rigid registration and check whether you can go for the deformable registration. If there is a minor changes, then okay, you can go. But if there is a major changes which cannot be merged, please do not use deformable registration in that.
Yes, sir.
It
Yes, sir.
become very dangerous sometime. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
please go ahead. Dr. Ritu?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, next.
So,
Yes, sir. As you said, sir, this is the image where two types of registration were described. First one is linear registration. This is just a matching from point to point matching is there. But as you said that this is liquefied.
Yeah.
The image, the CT data. This is the area, and then is by spatial transformation and resampling of this data. This is the resultant image of this registration.
And one should know the liquefaction to be done for the diagnostic image,
Yes.
not for the planning image.
Yes, sir.
That are the very dangerous thing if we start doing these things with half knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Ritu, please go ahead with the next.
yes, sir. Sir, some student has a question that can you please explain the treatment algorithm?
Ma'am, treatment algorithms is a mathematical. I think there is a beyond the scope of treatment algorithm. I know that the preliminary it is a three types. One is model based, and another is direct Monte Carlo, and another is analytical anisotropic means correction based treatment planning algorithms. In correction based treatment planning algorithms, we use the correction data and the TPS data and the data are available in our either it is generated or it is already available. And for model based, we create some models like convolution superpositions algorithms, and in direct Monte Carlo, that is the system where we use the beam transport of each particles and each particle histories, and we consider their and finally the sum up, they create the resultant dose of these distributions.
Okay, thank you so much. And now the next question is, can you please explain more difference in cumulative and differentiated dose volume histogram? Sorry, should I repeat the question?
Yeah.
Can you please explain more difference in cumulative and differential DVH?
More difference means?
Cumulative and differential DVH.
1 minute.
Sir, you just repeat what is the cumulative DVH and what is the differential DVH. Maybe just some, you can repeat it.
Yes. This is the cumulative DVH is the plot of volume. This axis we plot the volume, and this axis we plot the dose. And this at any point of suppose this is the point, and this point, here it is 40%, and 40% volume is received this much amount of dose, that is 2100 centigrade or more. This point means this much 40% volume received 21 gray or more dose of this particular organ. This is the cumulative dose. But in differential, there is a dose receiving volume, receiving a dose within a specified dose. We create the dose beams, and this is the dose of the dV by dd. We plot this differential dV by dd, and this axis, x-axis, we plot the dose. So actually, most of the time we use the cumulative cumulative dose volume histogram. We only use for some OARs according to distribution, how much dose is received, the whole target, whole the organ, whole the volume that is defined in the defined.
Okay, thank you. So then the next question is, what is the role of non-coplanar beam in IMRT?
Yeah, IMRT, we can perform the static IMRT. It will act useful only static IMRT, but as static means fixed gantry IMRT. It may not be useful in. It is very complicated in when we use the arc therapy. But in static gantry angle IMRT, this is very useful, as we can direct the beam in different plan. Means sometimes we use the vertex field, so we create couch and gantry angle combinations. So we can direct the beam from different plane. So these are very useful. I can show you the direct, that is I have already given. 1 minute. Yes, you can see this is here we have a target, and the beams are directed multiple direction. Multiple directions means multiple direction and multiple planes. You can see that the beams were from any directions. They does not belong to a single plane. But if there is a single plane, then it will go only gantry angle, and couch will not move for that situations. But if we combine the couch and gantry angle, then we can create the non-coplanar beams.
Very well explained, sir. How this hybrid technology differ from simple IMRT?
Yes, ma'am. Hybrid technology, in this you can see this is a hybrid technology where these we have used this is a breast patient, and these are two. One is clockwise and another is counterclockwise. Arc is there, and we also use the direct field in the in these supraclavicular regions, where there is no need of any modulations, because this is, we know this is a flat type of target is there. We only need the this intensity modulation for a curved structure the target, and where the heart and lungs are exist, and we can restrict the dose of heart and lung using this ARC technique, and we combine this ARC with the conventional 3D CRT beams or static beams like this. You can see this is actually I cannot rotate here. So this is the setup of, and we can create a single plan. We can hybrid IMRT or static IMRT with the ARC therapy. We can combine the, we can also adjust some beam tuning of each contribution we can do. So we can very well reduce the low dose volume, which is very complicated, problematic in the ARC therapy or IMRT therapy.
There is a question coming in continuation to this only, that field in
Yes.
field versus hybrid technique is both same or different, or which is better?
No, the field in field techniques is better because we give the same direction all maximum time. We use this field in field techniques in breast. It is better, but it requires much labor, and this optimization is done by computer only. But in field and field technique, the planner have to adjust all the beam weight and everything. So it is sometimes complicated, and I think for forward IMRT is better in breast cases. But we have also using this IMRT and static field combinations in that craniospinal irradiation patients, and this is for this situation also this hybrid technique is very useful.
Sir, what should be the contributions from the two techniques in hybrid treatments?
Ma'am, that can be, you can define. There is no fixed criteria. You can adjust during the plan. You can adjust. You can give more contribution. But normally we give the more contribution from 3D CRT, and then finally which are the points are low dose points are there. So that is filled by IMRT. We go by this principle only. First, we create a treatment, dose distribution by 3D CRT. Then we fill the less dose points by the IMRT.
And does hybrid technology have any impact on skin reactions?
No other, because beam matching is done by computer optimization only, so there is no problems in beam matchings and hotspots and other things. So you can very well see the distribution in a single plane, single plan.
So a few more questions if you would really like to answer.
Yes. I'm done.
What is the percentage-wise contribution in this?
In our center, we have planned some patients with 70% by 3D CRT and 30% by intensity modulated therapy.
Okay, so 70% by 3D CRT and 30%
3D CRT, yes. And the supraclavicular 100% by 3D CRT.
Okay, supraclavicular is 100%.
Yes.
Okay. And how about integral dose in hybrid technology?
The integral dose is lesser than intensity modulated radiotherapy, means intensity modulated arc therapy and IMRT, and monitor unit also less in these techniques, because most of the part is delivered by 3D CRT.
Okay. So one last question, sir.
Yes.
What is the difference between voxel distribution IMRT and arc therapy?
Voxel distribution IMRT, I don't know about this technique. Sorry.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I guess I have taken up all the wonderful questions that have been asked, and they have been very beautifully and answered in detail also. It's a fantastic academic feast for all of us on this Sunday morning coming from you, and we are glad to be a part of it.
Thank you,
thank you so much, sir, for your time and for enlightening us with this physics in detail aspect.
Thank you.
I would just request Arun sir to please say something.
Okay, thank you, sir, Dr. Ritu. Sir, I want to ask, you did not mention about USG-based gating, that is Clarity System by Electa,
Yes, sir.
in
That
the
is
real
there.
track tracking.
Yeah. It is very useful, and it is not used the non-ionizing radiation. So, but I do not know that how many people are using these techniques, because this is very useful, and it is very much user dependent. If you user is very much efficient, then it will give very good result, and there is no radiation, ionizing radiation is involved in this tracking or image guidance techniques.
Yeah, as far I know, this is used in the AIMS for the prostate SBRT. I have seen and I experienced it, and it is very good technique
Yes,
for
sir.
the
Yes,
prostate
sir.
SBRT, where we using a transperineal probe for the gating, and it is without any fiducial and easy to handle, easy to use, and the treatment time also get very less with this technique.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
every technique has some advantage and some disadvantage.
Yes, sir, yes.
Yeah.
But I think this technique is very much user dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Initially, we
ultrasound.
require a radiologist to
Yeah.
understand, but when once we experience it after few cases, then it can be done by radiation oncologist also. Yeah. So with this, I would like to invite Dr. Anu. Anu, ma'am.
Yes,
Dr.
I'm
Anu.
here. I don't know whether you see or not, but Dr. Vijit was a very nice presentation, very informative, and I think everyone has enjoyed. Thank you, Dr. Mandal, and everybody who is working hard for the series to go ahead. Thank you, Dr. Mandal. It was really nice presentation.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking actually.
Yeah, your voice is breaking, ma'am. Yeah, you can repeat voting. Thanks. Yeah. Ma'am, your voice is not clear.
Yeah, actually, our next class will be on target delineation of near rectum, followed by after that it will be on carcinoma cervix, and after that it will be on carcinoma breast. Please join. And then on behalf of Dr. Anu Tiwari, because maybe there is an internet problem, so her voice is cracking. I would like to thank Dr. Abhijit. Thank you so much. Our attendance crossed more than 200 because of your nice lecture. And Dr. Arun Verma and Dr. Ritu Chandra for nice moderation, and to all participants who enthusiastically participated in this physics class. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And you can get this PPT on my YouTube channel, or you can get on ncg.edu.in or Dr. Rashi Agarwal Cancer Specialist. On both, you can have these PPTs, and otherwise, who want it personally can message me. It will be available. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Now I am ending the class. Thank you so much.
Dr. Mandal, Dr. Piyusha here. So we were privileged to work with you. So I'm very happy and congratulations. It was an excellent presentation, Dr. Mandal.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, when we were doing PG, Dr. Mandal joined us. So, you know, we are friends, and he was our teacher also. So today also,